Washington Beat segment tonight. Let's get right to ACE correspondents Carl Cameron and James Rosen. They're in Washington. So, Rosen, what do we know? What do we know about the government investigating Sergeant Bergdahl?
We know, Bill, that Sergeant Bergdahl has been investigated by the U.S. government and various elements of it a number of times, and in fact that there is a new investigation said to be ongoing right now. The first time was after he essentially walked off his base in June 2009 and disappeared. That was principally an Army investigation. It's known as a 15-6. My reporting has shown that the intelligence community also undertook a separate investigation of Sergeant Bergdahl, both his final period of active duty that culminated in that mysterious evening, and also his conduct over the past 5 years, which is said to have been a period of captivity. And then, as I say, there's just recently been announced by the Secretary of the Army, Jack McHugh, a new investigation apparently undertaken just since all of this developed over this past weekend.
All right. Now, why would you say the intelligence? I assume that's Defense Intelligence, CIA, all of those
Correct.
people. Why would
Correct.
they bother investigating a sergeant who was taken captive? I mean, why do they spend those resources?
Well, with greatest proximity, because they were tasked with doing so. But my reporting on this, and I had a big story on FoxNews.com on Monday to this effect, is that there are many inside the intelligence community who harbor outstanding concerns, not just that Sergeant Bergdahl may have been a deserter, but that he may have become an active collaborator with the enemy. Some of his actions just prior to his disappearance, such as his packing home of his effects, the emails we've all read about, what he did and did not take with him when he walked off the base and so forth, point to such an intent. But beyond that, there has been some anecdotal evidence that's already in the public domain over the years about his activities over the last 5 years. For example, the Daily Mail reported in 2010, on the basis of an interview with a deputy district Taliban commander, that according to this commander, Sergeant Bergdahl had taught the Taliban how to disable a mobile phone and make it into an IED, essentially. In the beginning of your show, you played clips from an interviewee who appeared on our air earlier, who was part of that platoon, and who stated that after Bergdahl's disappearance, the success rate of IEDs against that unit was more pronounced. The last thing I will tell you is that I'm still working on this story. I'm talking to a broad range of sources in and out of the government, in and out of the military, and all I will say is that there are many forms that active collaboration can take. I'm investigating claims that it could go as serious as you could imagine. But to say anything further would be speculative.
But also, we also point out that there have been conclusions drawn, but they are classified now. So the CIA, the DIA, they came up with some stuff, but they slapped it right down.
And lastly, that every American, of course, is entitled to a presumption of innocence. The comments of the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff yesterday were to the effect that there's a process here and it's going to unfold, but a process will unfold. And that was in stark contrast to the comments from Ambassador Rice, Susan Rice, the National Security Advisor of the White House, on the Sunday shows, where she simply said without hesitation or qualification that Sergeant Bergdahl has served with honor and distinction.
She acquitted him right there. Okay.